Hello, hello, and welcome to your favorite YouTube channel, Be the True Rich. My name is Michael. If this is your first time here, please like, share, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at Be the True Rich. And I'm saying today's going to be another exciting episode on your favorite YouTube channel, as we're starting a new series called The Gospel of the True Rich. We ended our series on change in my last video, where I did a summary of the 9 previous episodes and took the last episode, which was money cannot make you rich. All the money in the world can never make you rich. So that brings us to what would make you rich. How do you become rich? How do you not look rich? How do you not do rich? How do you not just act rich? What entails you to be rich? And that is what brings us to this new series called The Gospel of the True Rich. What does the rich teach the children? What does the rich teach the world in their everyday dealings? Because the handwriting is always there. They're always acting. They're always dealing. They're always doing things. But people tend not to notice what they do. Rather, they observe and take their time to know what they have. So it's easy to name and list the cars and the houses and their locations of these rich people. But we do not know what they really do. We think what they do is to acquire those things. Meanwhile, it is actually what they have. That is not what they do. And we think what they do is influenced by money, is influenced by making money. Not knowing that what they do is influenced by their being. It's influenced by who they are, what controls their mind, what controls their thinking. How do they perceive life? Are they entitled people? Are they greedy people? Are they selfish people? Are they valueless people? Are they people with non-integrity? These are fruits you're looking at here of the rich. These are things that we need to look at. What informs their thinking? Why are they thinking that way?
Get the best deals on all items on spree.africa. Shop now.
Why are you thinking to spend all your cash in business? And why is the rich thinking to use debt for business? What informs it? What gives them the criteria to buy whatever they wish to buy? How do they buy? What do they buy? How do they shop? Why do they shop? Why do they even buy? We will learn all this in this series, The Gospel of the True Rich. Now, like I said in my last video, I chose the word gospel because gospel doesn't just mean the good news. It means the news too good to be true. And it's so simple that you would doubt every iota of it because you believe that it has to be complex to be rich. You have to be complex, complicated, and very greedy to be rich. No. The rich are simple people. And they're driven by one purpose: service, not money. So you're going to be finding out secrets. How the rich think. What informs their thinking? What informs their decisions? Why do they do what they do? Why do they act the way they act? Why are they charitable people? Why do they chase value instead of money? And what guarantees they will get money after giving value? You need to understand. That is why this program is named Be the True Rich. Because you have to be. It is in being that you actually act out things. Your being has to first take shape in your mind. Your mind has to evolve to your being. There has to be an evolution. There needs to be a balance on the scale for you to ever become rich. There are a lot of people today that are rich today, or should I say they are on their way of becoming rich. But when you look around them, it doesn't look it, and you can't see it. It is deep in their DNA. And one thing for sure is success is not hidden, and success can be predicted. Becoming rich can be predicted. When a truly rich person sees another person who is about to become rich, they know. And when they see a fluke, when they see a 1 minute wonder, they know. And they can relate with you based on where you're going and where you're coming from. Because where you're coming from determines where you're going. Your being determines how rich you'll be. So we're going to be looking into all this. It's the gospel. It is what the rich preach. Some preach with their actions, some preach with their mouths, some even write books to tell you these things. It is not hidden. It is out there. I listed a lot of books in the Change series because I believe that if you have gone through those books, your mind would have evolved to a stage. And the next question will now be, okay, how do I take the steps in these things I have learned? Beautiful books. Now, those books are gospels because they look so simple, they sound so simple, and the funniest part is you can even download them for free. Yes, on sites. You can download these books for free. So for free, you mean you can actually give me something of value for free? Yes, the rich do. Yes, some rich do not even put premium on their books because they want you to have it. They want to serve you. They are in those books. The Gospels of the Rich. They are in those books. If you've covered half of it, you would understand what I'm talking about. So we're going to be talking about what to do. What to do to become rich. When I say become rich, I'm talking about to have a change in mind. To have your mind reconstructed. To have your mind reconstructed. So that you begin to think and act like the rich. When you act like the rich, you do the things the rich does. You then begin to have what the rich have. So we'll be going on a very beautiful journey. I hope you're ready because it's going to be revealing. And I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. Keep it simple, stupid, so that you can understand. If you have any questions or any inquiries so far, please, my phone number and my email is always on the screen. Copy it out, call me, mail me, let's talk. Ask those questions. Because until you ask those questions, you never get the answers. The hard questions, ask them. And I'm sure by the time we are done, you have a clear revelation of what you should be doing and what not to do. Thank you for Today we're going to have the first episode on the series The Gospel of the True Rich. Like I said in my last video, the reason I chose the word gospel is for us to learn about the good news of being rich. Yes, we need to learn the good news from the rich. What a rich person would tell you, what a rich person would advise you, what a rich person will counsel you on. So that is what we're going to be treating. And today, for the first episode, we're going to be treating the rich don't work for money. The rich make money work for them. The rich don't work for money. The rich make money work for them. I know in your mind you're thinking, is there anybody on earth that does not work for money? At the end of the day, they'll say, last, I'm money different. Everything is surrounded by money. You need money to eat. You need money to do certain things in your life. You need money to buy things. Yes, we're not disputing that. I am not disputing that. It is very essential. Money is very essential in our everyday lives. But the rich don't work for money. The rich make money work for them. First off, let's look at why we need money in our everyday lives. What controls us getting a job? Why do we feel we need a job to succeed? Why do we feel we need money in our everyday lives? It is simply tied to our emotions. Yes, our emotions control our minds in what we think we need. And the two major emotions that control the poor are fear and greed. Fear of the unknown. Fear that you may lose your job. Fear that you may not be able to feed yourself. Fear that you can't pay your children's school fees. Fear that without money, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay your bills. So you wake up every day, even though you don't like the job, even though it doesn't make sense to you while you're working, but you wake up every day and trade your time for money. You wake up as early as impossible, get home as late as impossible. Some people, it is midnight to midnight. And the minute you sit them down and ask them, why are you working so hard on a job? Why are you always leaving? And why are you always complaining on this same job, but you're not leaving the job? The fear begins to speak. You begin to hear, if I lose my job, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to feed? How am I going to eat? How am I going to sleep? How am I going to do this? The children's fees are due. The rent is due. You know, you keep having a million reasons why you need to continue slaving yourself on that job.
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
And not confronting the fear with asking the question, will this really solve the problem? Because the truth is, a job, like Robert Kiyosaki calls it, just over broke. A job is only a temporal measure, a temporal solution to a permanent problem. The problem remains. And we've so observed it. Look around you. The more money you make, it's almost like the poorer you are. And the more afraid you are. I know of people who are more afraid now that they have money, they've bought their dream house, they've bought their dream car. They are so afraid now. In fact, in their offices, if they're invited to the HR department, they begin to cry. Even without knowing why they're invited there. They feel they're just going to get a sack letter. And they are scared of losing the house, the car, and everything. Because the truth is, when you work for money, the minute that money stops coming in, everything in your life stops automatically. Everything stops. You can't repair your car anymore. You can't pay the children's school fees. You can't do what you need to do. So the question you should ask yourself, then why are you working for money? As unreal as money is, you still sell your time for money. It's 50 years down the line. You're still doing the same thing. Like I mentioned in my other video, some people cry when it comes to retirement. When it is time for them to retire, they begin to wail. They begin to scream. And some of them even beg for extra years and call it overtime. And they hide under, I love my job. This is what I love doing. But deep within, they know that they are in trouble. And their life is on its way to becoming shambles. Because their standard of living is about to drop from up here to down here. If they do not have that salary coming in every month, that paycheck, they are nothing. In fact, they lose respect in every organization they find themselves. In church, they lose respect. In their clubs, they lose respect because they cannot afford it anymore. Their faith and their fervent prayers comes from the fact that they know they have a paycheck. So if they are invited to the HR office, you'd see some, they just feel gloomy. So why are they so afraid? What is keeping them bound to fear? It's because they listen to that emotion called fear and they hold on to it. So the richer they become, the poorer they actually become. Because it is easier to drop from here to here than dropping from up here to down this place. So now you get it. Fear keeps them waking up every morning, doing the things they hate doing. 95% of people I know hate their jobs. They hate it. They hate going to that office every day. They hate have to wake up at odd hours to go to that job. But still they do it. And the reason behind it is fear. Now, secondly, let's talk about greed. Or another word, desire. Yeah. Because we're trained from a very young age to chase candy once we get money in our pockets. So as a kid, once a visitor visits the house and gives you 10 naira, 20 naira, the next thing that comes to your mind is what your parents do for you. Buy sweets or biscuits for you, or candy for you. And every time you have spare cash, you always do that as a kid. Then you grow up with that needy attitude, that greed, that desire to equip yourself and arm yourself with liabilities. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take money from your pocket. So you have a desire to change your phone. So you're working so hard to get a promotion so that you can change your phone to the latest phone. You're working so hard to get a promotion so that you can change your apartment and move into a bigger apartment that you don't even need at that time. Because most of the things we look for or we pray for are wants. Most of them are wants, not needs. Not needs. So the greed, the desire. That is why once it's paycheck week, you already have analyzed a mental budget in your mind on how you will spend that money. And usually, the paycheck sometimes does not even see the first day of the next month if you're paid on the last week of the month anyways. You would have amassed so much liabilities at the end of your 50-year or 20-year tenure working. Fear gets you to start. Fear gets you to, go to school, keep going to school, keep learning so that you can keep getting promotions and keep getting paid so that you can afford the things you want to afford. You understand, you have to live life. Then greed on the other side keeps you working and longing for more. People today are trapped working for money because of fear and greed. Now, if you can beat these two emotions, emotional intelligence is one of the key ingredients to financial intelligence. Because if you cannot check your emotions, there is a very high probability that you remain poor. So the question is, how do you deal with these emotions? Instead of being emotional, why not be logical? Why not ask yourself the hard questions? Why are you shying away from it? Ask yourself, would this rat race I'm running every day of my life? Would it solve my financial problems forever? Or is it in the time being? And some of them are deep in bad debt while working in these companies. Bad debt that they can't even resign. They've taken debt to acquire liabilities. So for those reasons, they have to work all their life there to pay back those debts. The question is simple. Would it solve the problem? Taking a slice of bread and gulping down your coffee every morning, would it solve your financial problems at the end of that race? That's if you ever leave the race. It is a common thing in Lagos where people, once they retire, they go back to their villages. And they pad it with, I just want to rest. Don't they rest in Lagos? Don't they have clubs for the mature? For the advanced? Don't they have beautiful places where you can rest? Don't they have beautiful locations? That even if you want to do farming, because they say, I just want to do farming. If you want to farm in your gardens, you can. Tell the truth. You're poor. After earning 5, 10 million per month, you find out at the end of your whole tenure that you're actually poor. So you need to ask the question, would this help me? Would it get me out of this financial mess? Once you have the answers to that, you begin to think, how can I do something different? Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's going to school to get a job and go to more school to increase your salary and continue like that. How can I do something different? Then the answers will pop up. The rich don't work for money. The rich look around them, look for needs they can serve. And in turn, meet those needs. Get money to get the needs met. And in turn, get paid. Provided you can continue meeting needs, you keep getting paid even after you retire. So your standard of life would never drop. Rather, it increases. Because at every new need you meet, what you do in turn is to increase your means, to expand your means, rather than live within your means. Or live a lie by going in debt, bad debt. So you need to take a step and think, the rich don't work for money. And if you remember, I made a video, the rich are not greedy people. Greed keeps you where you're at. Fear keeps you where you're at. If only you can step back and think, you'll get good answers. And you'll learn how to make money work very hard for you. And in turn, you print money by making money work for you. And not doing the same thing everybody's doing, running the rat race. Move to the fast lane. Meet needs. Serve people. Serve people. That is the first step of becoming rich. That is the reason why you need to do anything you're doing. Meet needs, serve people, and in turn, your riches will be secure. Like Robert would always say, it doesn't matter how much you make. What matters is how much you keep. How much remains yours at the end of the day. Thanks for watching. Today is the second episode on the series, The Gospel of the True Rich. The first episode, I talked about money and how the rich make money work hard for them and brings money for them. Today we're going to be talking about the reason behind financial literacy. Why teach financial literacy? Why not just let things be? Why are we so concerned about educating people about financial literacy? Why are we so concerned about making people more financially intelligent? That's a question I'm going to be answering here today very briefly. Now, the first reason is we want you to be sure at the end of the day to work for yourself and keep the money for yourself. Like Robert Kiyosaki would say, it doesn't matter how much you make. What matters is how much you keep. How much is your own at the end of the day. So why work so hard all your life and at the end of the day, the money is not yours? In fact, first, who are you working for? Because a lot of people think they're working to earn for themselves. But in truth, they're working for the government, they're working for their boss, and thirdly, they're working for the banks. So I know you're wondering, like, oh, I'm a private sector worker. I don't work for the government. Is that what you think? Is that what they've made you believe? Now, the fault here is because we're not taught these things in school to have a clearer picture. Financial literacy is not taken in our schools. We're not educated on financial literacy. So it just hits us at the point in our life when we're working so hard and we're wondering why we are going below. We're becoming poor, despite the fact we're working hard. It is because, first off, we're not working for ourselves. In quote, the poor are not working for themselves. Now, when I use the word the poor, I don't mean the ones who never had an opportunity to have a 6-digit job or have the opportunity to live a modern life in the rural areas there. I'm not talking of those people. Those people are not opportuned. They don't have the opportunity you have. I'm talking to you who is driving a Bentley today. I'm talking to you who's driving a Rolls Royce. I'm talking to you who earns 6, 7, 8 figures. You're the one I'm talking to.
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
You're the one I'm referring to as the poor. Because most of you are poor. And deep down, you know it. It hasn't just dawned on you, but yes, deep down, inside there, you know that you're in financial crisis. Because every day you sink. Like I said in my last video, instead of you to feel freedom with your security you have in your job, you're still feeling more afraid than you were. Like Robert would say, the most secure place in this life is a prison. So when you're going for job security, it means you forgo financial freedom. So job security does not guarantee you financial freedom and would never take you to that place where you're financially free. They're two different places. They're two different worlds. The more money you make in the e-quadrant as an employee, the more afraid you are. Because you're scared of losing your job and your house of cards goes crumbling. Now, I just thought to hint that each time I'm talking about the poor, I'm not talking of those ones who never had the opportunity to work in corporate organizations and earn big and live the flashy life. And no, I'm not talking of those people. When I say the poor, I mean you who today is like you're on top of the world. But deep down, you know that there's something wrong. So I'm here to point out those things that are wrong and redirect your focus so that you would, at the end of the day, help yourself to become rich. Become rich. So first off, like I was saying, who are you working for? Are you working for the government? Now, a lot of people think that their greatest expense is on food. No, it's on taxes. It's so funny that people are very comfortable working all their lives. But meanwhile, the government gets paid first. Because if you're working in an organization, the first person to get paid is the government. You beat the early hours, you do the 9 to, in Nigeria, it's almost 9 to 9. And for some people, they go to work midnight and come back midnight, and the circle just keeps on going that way. It just keeps on rotating that way. So you do all that. Before your paycheck arrives, the government gets paid tax. Pay tax. So before whatever gets to you, the government has already claimed theirs with full chest. According to my people, full chest. They've taken their own. Then whatever is remaining is what they will now deduct what they need to deduct on the other side and give you what is yours. So let's say your pay tax of 30,000 naira is 3,000 naira. It means that the government receives 3,000 naira first. Then the 27,000, your late, absent, and whatever penalty panel and you're facing, they will now deduct it from it. So I hope you're getting the picture. So the government gets paid. So directly or indirectly, you're working for the government. Now you come out into the street, consumption tax, and the rest of them, it keeps going. So you're working for the government. Now, is it the same for the rich? Are you under the same tax bracket? Does the rich get paid first or the government? For the rich gets paid first before the government. After the rich has covered their expenses as a rich person in that tax bracket, it is then you pay the government the tax, their own tax. So that's one very big difference. The poor are working first for the government, even before themselves, but they don't see it that way. While the rich are working first for themselves before the government. Now, secondly, your boss. Because each time, to every excellent job you do in an organization, of which that is what you should do, you shouldn't do less. Don't ever do less. You're there to render excellent service. Of course, of which you know, if you render less than excellent, you're out of the door. To every excellent service you render, it is a plus to your boss. So before you receive your salary, your boss has already gotten theirs by means of growing the company. So to every excellent service, you're growing the company. So you're building somebody else's dream. You're building somebody else's ambition, somebody else's focus, somebody else's future. And you're in that company liquid. And of which, once anything happens, the next thing you sing the same song, you sing every time. I need to get another job. I need to look for another job. I'm in the market for another job. That is why Robert Kiyosaki warns that money is a drug. Be careful where you get your money from. Because if you're a builder and you run into some money problems, or you lose the project you're working on, or you lose what you're building at the point, what you do next is go to build another one. But if all you do is job, the minute you lose a job, you're onto another job, and the same cycle keeps going on. You keep paying the government, paying your boss, and of course, the banks. So we're trying to make you see and understand why you need to be financially literate. Because that of the government doesn't end when your job ends. No. Because when you begin to receive your pension, you also first pay tax. You also pay tax. You can't avoid it. You're always paying the government. Always. Because you have a pension plan. Does the rich have pension plans? The answer is actually no. And if they do, it is for some tax breaks, for some technical reasons, but they do not depend on a pension plan to live and survive. Thirdly, the banks. How do you pay the banks? So your money, your 27,000 gets to you after the government has taken their 3,000 naira pay tax, and let's say in the month there are no penalties, no abnormalities, so you're not deducted by your boss. Okay, and you have your 27,000. What the poor people logically do is to go and sleep the money. They take the money straight to the bank. In fact, in some cases, it is a mandate on their account that the money directly goes to the bank to save. So you're working to help the banks gather money for investment. So you don't know what to do with money, but the banks you're giving your money to save your money are not even saving your money. They are using your money for business. And because they can, they have the power to every dollar you save, they have the power to print or loan out 9 extra because of the fractional reserve ratio on your money. And at the end of the day, they give you pittance, or rather, they promise you pittance back in return on your savings, of which most of the time, you don't even receive it. By the time they will take out all their charges, cleaning charges, washing charges, ATM cleaning charges, account washing charges, and whatever, to the extent a bank sends you a birthday message, they are charging you for it. Happy New Year, they charge you for it. Merry Christmas, you are being charged for it. Independence, you're being charged for it. Any message, text message the bank sends you, they are charging you for it. Even to celebrate your own birthday, the bank is charging you. And you are happy. So now you see where all your money goes at the end of the day. Then inflation hits your money hard. By the time your money is coming back to you as your money, the value has almost depleted. The rich work for themselves. The poor works for every other person but themselves. You can see it anyway. And sometimes you pay the banks in the form of mortgage. And the most painful part is at the end of the day, most people don't own the houses they paid all their life for. Because by the time you're retiring, if you've not finished paying it, you may have no other means. Or the taxes on the liability house you are building, or the liability house you are paying for. Like I said, liability takes money from your pocket. Assets put money in your pocket. So the same item can be an asset or a liability. So if your house is for you to live in, it is not an asset. It is a liability. Tell yourself the truth. So you're working all your life. The government takes its own part. You're making your boss richer, achieve more. Thank you very much. Very good worker. The third thing is the banks. So, and they have a way of loaning you to be able to afford that mortgage. And they take back their money. And if at the end of the day you're unable to pay it off, they foreclose your property. They take over. It's automatic. They take over. And you start wondering, oh, I've been living here for the past 15 years. Is there nothing I can do? There's nothing you can do but to move and go to a rented apartment. Because in truth, it was never your own. And it's very likely that the person that sold you the idea is no longer working in the bank. They've retired and facing their own. Are you with me? So that is why we are coming to educate you. So that at the end of the day, you end up working and paying yourself. If possible, 100%. And like I always say, it doesn't matter really what quadrant you operate. You can be operating in the E quadrant and still become rich by investing in the I quadrant or operating in the B quadrant as well. The difference is financial intelligence. And of course, intelligence is your ability to solve problems. So there are money problems. No matter how big you are or how small you are, you never ever escape money problems. Money problems are always there. Money problem for one person may be 10,000, another person may be 10 million, another person may be 100 million, another person may be 1 billion. But they are money problems. So the way you handle it is what differs. And the crybaby in us, the minute we keep listening to it and keep doing the same thing, like I explained in my previous video, you keep going back, even though you don't like, even though you don't enjoy what you're doing. It doesn't only affect those in the E quadrant. I know some S quadrant people that are also very tired and unhappy with what they're doing. They work all their life. They work all their life and they are not happy, but they do not know how to expand, how to break it out and make it a B. So I'm sure at the end of this video, you get the point. Why would a rich person want you to be financially intelligent? Why would a rich person not just let you be? Some will say, leave me alone. I don't live my life. I'm living my life. I don't care. Whatever happens. No. You need to, at the end of the day, make sure you're making the money. Don't come and pay everybody and you don't pay yourself. You should be the first person to be paid. In my subsequent videos, we'll talk about it so that you can see, you have a broader view of the whole thing. Take your time and think. If you feel you need a change in your life, my phone number is always on the screen. My email is always on the screen. Contact me, book a session, and let's talk. Let's talk. Let's change the conversation. And I bet you're going to become rich. You're definitely going to become rich. Thanks for watching. Thank you. We're still on the series, The Gospel of the True Rich. In my last video, I talked about why teach financial literacy. Why not let people be? Why not let people spend their money and use their money the way they want it and work in any way they want to work? Just do their thing. And I summed it up with, first, so that you don't end up working for other people. So you end up working and building your own thing, not working for your bosses, the government, and the banks. So you end up working for yourself. Today, I'm going to be talking about minding your business. Now, this is something very common about the rich, the true rich. If you approach a truly rich person today, part of the things they will tell you is to mind your business. Mind your business. And most of the time, we're wondering, what do these people mean? What are they trying to say? Mind your business. What do they mean by minding your business? In a few minutes, you'll understand better. Today, I'm going to be doing something different. I'm going to be reading a passage from Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Chapter 3, Lesson 3, Mind Your Business. And after that, we continue. In 1974, Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, was asked to speak to the MBA class at the University of Texas at Houston. A friend of mine was a student in the MBA class. After a powerful and inspiring talk, the class adjourned and the students asked Ray if he would join them at the favorite hangout to have a few beers. Ray graciously accepted. "What business am I in?" Ray asked, once the group had all their beers in hand. Everyone laughed. My friend said, most of the MBA students thought Ray was just fooling around. No one answered, so Ray asked again, "What business do you think I'm in?" The students laughed again, and finally one brave soul yelled out, "Ray, who in the world doesn't know that you're in the hamburger business?" Ray chuckled. "That's what I thought he would say." He paused and then quickly added, "Ladies and gentlemen,
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
I'm not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate." As my friend tells the story, Ray spent a good amount of time explaining his viewpoint. In his business plan, Ray knew that the primary business focus was to sell hamburger franchises. But what he never lost sight of was the location of each franchise. He knew that the land and its location were the most significant factors in the success of each franchise. Basically, the person who bought the franchise was also buying the real estate under the franchise for Ray Kroc's organization. Today, McDonald's is the largest single owner of real estate in the world, owning even more than the Catholic Church. McDonald's owns some of the most valuable intersections and street corners in America and around the globe. Okay, so now, after reading that passage, if you didn't hear me clearly, you can rewind to the beginning of the passage, or better still, you can grab a copy of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You'll find it there, Lesson 3, Chapter 3. Mind your business. Like I said earlier, when you approach the rich for counsel, part of the things a rich person will tell you is to mind your business. Mind your business. And most of the time we get it wrong when we don't understand what they mean by minding our business. It doesn't mean the normal cliche where we say mind your business, don't talk about things, don't get into things that are not concerning you. No, that's just a regular cliche using in Nigeria when we use the word mind your business. But when the rich says mind your business, a rich man is telling you to really mind your business. Because most people do not have businesses and they do not know that they don't have businesses. They think that their job is their business. So you meet someone who works in a bank and you ask him, what business are you into? He says, I'm in the banking sector. And I pause, I'm like, you're not in the banking business, you're a banker. And they're like, why do you say I'm not in the banking business? I'm like, do you own the bank? And the answer is no. Which means in reality, you're minding someone else's business. And a lot of people, the poor, mind other people's businesses all their life, never ever trying to mind their own business or get their own business, then mind it. So a lot of people work in organizations for other people, building other people's organizations, building other people's dreams, other people's company, making money for other people, giving other people their money, and not doing anything to set up their own businesses to mind. And for some, they have what they call side hustles on the corner, but they don't mind their business enough or their side hustle enough to build it to have passive income, more passive income than their salaries, so it remains small forever. And they're spending the best of their strength for their bosses and the companies they work. If you remember, in most of my videos, I keep saying it doesn't really matter the quadrant you operate in, you can become rich. While operating in the E quadrant as an employee, you can become rich by taking out your time to also build your business and mind it. Do your job and mind your business, and do not mistake your job for your business. You ask some real estate agents, they are just agents, and you ask them, what business are you into? They'll be like, I'm in the real estate business. You're not a real estate investor. You don't even invest your money in the real estate. So how come you're in the real estate business? Are you the owner of the firm? The answer is usually no. So we need to understand these things so that we don't mix it up. Your job and your business are two different things, so that we do not end up paying everybody. In my last video, I talked about paying the government, paying the banks, and paying your bosses before you get paid. Building your government's portfolio, building your bank's portfolio, and building your boss's portfolio before you build your own. No. Am I saying you should be an irresponsible or an indisciplined worker at your job? The answer is no. Always put in your best. The same way you're putting in your best in your job, always have your business too in mind. Mind it. Let it be at the top of your mind. The reason why you need to be better at your job is so that you can also raise money for your business, and in turn pay yourself back. And someday the passive income you're getting from your business would pay you off handsomely, and you would need to leave the job. You would have to quit the job and then face your business fully. Do not mistake it. Do not get it wrong. Your business is different from your job. Minding your business simply means growing your business even though you're on a job. Because a lot of people, once they begin to receive that huge paycheck, they forget that they had a business in mind or they had a dream. They then marry the false reality of their jobs. Instead of trying to make something out of their business, they quit everything and they face their jobs. To them, their jobs is more important. Remember, when you're on a job, the person you're paying, the person you're building is not yourself. You're minding another person's business. You're helping them achieve their dream. So every successful project you have on a job, it is a credit to another person, not you. And the higher you get in the job, the higher your promotion, the more money the government makes. Because the higher your pay, the higher your tax bracket. You have to pay more to the government. And the worst part is you have no single control over it. They get paid first before you get paid. And usually your money runs through the bank, auto save. And it is saved in the bank and the banks are getting paid. before you get paid. Inflation hits your money, the value goes down, and some way, somehow, you are happy about it. It sounds logical, right? Is that the best thing to do? The answer is no. So henceforth, you need to learn to mind your business. Now, let me go back to the chapter I read about Ray Kroc. Now, that was a very interesting story. When I read Rich Dad Poor Dad first in 2019, when I got to this place, I paused and I read it again. I could understand the dynamics. The main business was actually real estate, not the franchise. That was his main business. The real estate behind the franchise was the main jackpot for him. So, as part of the franchise, you have to buy the real estate that houses the franchise. And that was the key for him, not just the franchise, but the real estate under the franchise. And of course, real estate appreciates. And a real estate where you have a franchise, of course, the appreciation is always going to be awesome. So he's making money two ways, as a landlord and as a business owner. Are you getting it? So you need to focus on your business. You need to mind your business. And he minds his business. And if you read further in that book, you'd find out that Kate, telling Robert the story, then started a car wash. And the same formula Ray Kroc used, he used it. So his business is actually the real estate that houses the car wash. That is his major business. Not the car wash, but the real estate. So you can see that when I say that there is no secret to success, there's no secret to financial intelligence. People have done these things. You can do it. And if you read further, you find Robert Kiyosaki working in Xerox and also minding his business, building his business until it begins to produce passive income and eventually pays him more than his job. He even bought a Porsche from his business while still working at Xerox. And a lot of people were thinking he was using his salary in Xerox to achieve it. No. And when it was time, he resigned in Xerox and moved on fully to the business. We have these things happening in our world today. It really doesn't matter if right now you're finding yourself in the E quadrants. That is what we're trying to say. You can slowly, quietly, but mindfully move to the B quadrant. You can move from being an employee to an employer in the business quadrant. So do not lose focus of your dreams, of your goals, of your ambitions. You can still do it even though you have a day job. That is the point. Minding your business. Do not lose focus. Be mindful of your business. Have it in your mind every minute that, look, I have something I'm building. I would build. I'm co-building, whichever ways. And build it, because that is your asset column. That is where money gets into your pocket. At first, it comes in trickles, bit by bit. Then with time, it begins to make sense. And someday you wake up, you don't even need your job anymore. You're fully established on the corner. And then you move into it. So that is what I have to share with you today. Minding your business. A rich person will always tell you, mind your business. This is why this is the gospel of the true rich. Too good to be true, right? Yes, but it is possible, and it is actually. If you'd like to discuss this, my phone number is always on the screen. My email is always on the screen. Please copy, give me a call, write me. You can write me on Twitter at Be The True Rich, on Instagram at Be The True Rich, and I'll reply you, and we take it off from there. Do not be shy. Do not hide in your shell. If you need help, come out. I'm here. I'm all ears. Thanks for watching. The topic for today is the rich work to learn. The rich don't work for money. The rich work to learn. The rich don't work for money. So the question is, who works for money? The poor. Now let's go this direction. A lot of people tend to believe that to be rich, you have to be a specialist. And that is a very wrong notion or a very wrong thinking pattern. Like I said in my previous videos, to be rich, all you need be is a generalist. The rich are not specialists, they are generalists. So a rich person knows a little bit of everything, not knowing everything about a little bit. They are two different things. For example, a rich person can set up an organization like an e-commerce company without being a specialist in any of the field. Without being a specialist in logistics, without being a specialist in web design and app management, without being a specialist in accounting, without being a specialist in branding, without being a specialist in marketing, and name it, IT, you keep going on. I used that illustration in one of my videos when I talked about running an e-commerce company. So what a rich person needs to know is a little bit of each of the departments, a little bit of each of everything, and that takes a lifetime of learning. Because you need to learn every step of the way. The rich do not stop learning. They are students for life. And that is a difference between a rich person and a graduate. Because a rich person can never tell you, I am a graduate, and boast about it. I graduated from, I finished with a... No, because they are still students. The rich always see themselves as students for life.
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
The minute you see someone bragging too much about academic qualifications, I see a poor person. Because what the poor really do is spend so much of their life and their time specializing in a particular field. I'll use medicine for an instance. You have someone wanting to be a medical doctor, spends 7 to 9 years here in Nigeria studying medicine, one course, one specialty. Then they come out, they become general practitioners. Then they go further to become specialists, chiropractors, gynecologists, cardiologists, radiologists, and so on. Now, please, I am not playing down on hardworking people. I'm not playing down on doctors, lawyers, professional specialists. I am not. That is not the cause of this video, to play down on them or to insult their beautiful practices. That is not the aim of this video. It is just to show that if you want to actually be rich, that thing you're doing, becoming a specialist, would only make you a specialist in one area. And usually, when they get that golden job in that golden hospital, the longer time they spend there, the more afraid they are of losing that job, because they are specialists in one field. So if they lose that job in that field, or that job is no more available, or that field has been completely closed down, we've had cases like that where a particular practice is no longer in vogue. It means that they have to go back to go and learn another specialty. And in most cases, for them to have a pay raise, they have to keep specializing more, going deeper and deeper into one small thing. Yes, one thing, just one part. You're dealing with one thing for 20, 25 years, and you keep going. You don't know how to do anything else. That is your life. Like I was having a discussion this morning. A lot of people who are successful are not rich, and a lot of rich people are not successful. But combining them together as traits gives you beautiful, successful wealth. Yes, combining them. You can have successful people in the S quadrant who have been successful in their careers, but in the business world, in the world of money, they have not had that success. What schools prepares us for is to be successful in a career, be successful as an employee, not an employer of labor. School does not get us ready to be employers of labor. The two don't go hand in hand. And that is the flaw we have in the educational system today. The educational system needs to be reformed to inculcate financial intelligence into their calendar. Because these students need to understand that money and specialty are two different things. As a rich person, you are a generalist. You are involved in every area of that organization, of that business. You're involved in every area of the business, of what you're doing. You understand every area of it. Because most of the time, like I said, we work to learn. So it is always a building process for the rich. Because the rich work to learn. They don't work for money. So they get better and better at the things they are doing. And someday, they may not have to do those things again. So they put up a structure or set up a structure to handle those things. But in them, they have an idea of exactly what they want. In a conversation with a client the other day, I told the client, I'm not a specialist. I'm a generalist. I know little and little of whatever I need to know. I take my time to learn little and little of accounting, little of branding, little of marketing, little of photography, little of anything, editing, little of anything that is important in what I'm doing. While the poor focus on one thing all their life. And that is the only thing they know how to do. And if you try to take them away from that place, they can't fit in else. First, is that the pay raise is so low because where they're coming from, they've spent 15 years there to climb up that corporate ladder. Now they're coming to a new place where they will have to be seen as freshers and start with the paycheck of freshers. So they now have a financial crisis, and their house of cards is falling because their lives have been built on that house of cards. Their lives have been built on that phantom, on that thought that they are rich. Meanwhile, all they've been collecting all these years is money. And once they get into any financial crisis, it is almost the end of their life. And if you take that job away from them, you've taken away their life from them. Because before they can go to spend another 20, 25 to gather another set of experience in another field, it becomes a problem. A lot of them are so stereotyped, myopic. They see life from only one angle. Very soon we'll be talking about the 3 sides of the coin and how to see things through your mind. Please stay tuned because you're going to learn a lot in understanding how the rich work. So, a rich person builds, and in building, the learning never ever stops. Building is a lifelong learning process. You keep learning. In setting up things, you keep learning. A lot of poor people I know, the day they graduated from school, that was the last time they opened a book. Because they believe that they know everything for you to be a graduate, and that can be deceiving. Because the day you graduated, new technology, new things have been discovered in that same field you graduated from. And you'll be walking around with the old thing. Maybe the knowledge you have is just like 10 years back to the time you are. So there's a future. The rich move into the future. The rich knows the future. The rich predicts the future. The rich follows the trend. They keep learning. They keep learning. The moment you advise a poor person to go learn people's skills like sales, marketing, they will tell you, do you know who I am? I have 4 BScs. I have 5 master degrees. And I have a professorship. Why would I go beneath myself to go and learn sales? I will give that to a salesperson and they will, of course, forgetting that you give it to them and start praying that they know what they're doing. But having a prior knowledge of what you're doing. In fact, at times I say, being able to speak the language in that field, most of the time makes the difference. Where you can easily communicate with the people that you need to do something for you in their language. And they understand exactly where you're coming from and where you're going and exactly what you want. So, as part of the gospel of the true rich, this is what the rich would advise you. Work to learn. Don't work for money. Because the more you learn, the better you are. So even if anything happens, you are building on a solid rock, not on a house of cards. You're not building a house of cards that will crumble someday. So even if something happens, something pops up out of the blue, and you eventually lose everything, because you're a generalist, it is easy for you to pick up yourself and regain everything you have lost. I hope you can see the dangers of over-specializing, where at a point in your life, you are tired of even doing the same thing. So what they do to pad it is to go and get another degree to climb it. And of course, you need to climb the corporate ladder than owning the ladder yourself. The rich own the ladder. The poor are always learning to climb it. And the higher they climb, the more money they make, the more the government makes, the more banks make, and the more their bosses make. I was in the midst of a conversation the other day, and I could observe that the people talking were talking about their staff salary. Their staff. There was some sign of surprise in them that why should this person be earning that much, this person earning that much, and all of them are staff of a company. I then asked the golden question, please, how much does the owner of your company earn if a staff is earning 7.5 million? None of them could answer. I said, can you see, like, this is what I'm talking about. You're so focused on yourselves that you're not even looking at the person on top, the person people are working for. Because if one person can be paid 7 million and another person is paid 5 million, another person is paid 2 million, then how much does your boss make? The person you're working for. So most of the time, our minds are in the wrong places, and that leads us to asking the wrong questions. So the rich always work to learn. They're always on the learning process. Learning never ends for the rich. The poor is always after graduation date. I'll just do it for 2-3 years and I'll graduate. So, I hope with this video, you can have a better perspective of why you should not even be a specialist. And how much more you can achieve as a generalist. Because the truth is, as a generalist, you can start up any business. That's why I tell people, I can start up any business. It's that simple. Because I'm a generalist. I know bits and bits of, and I can pick interest in any of them and start it up. And set up a structure around it. But when you're a specialist, you can only do one thing and one thing alone. A scenario in Nigeria today, generator repairers are making so much money because there's no power. Now, I do not know if they are thinking into the future that someday this power problem will be fixed in this country. So what will happen to all their skills? What will happen to them? And if you're talking about the business people that sell the generator, that is another ballgame. Because if generators don't sell again, they switch to another product. That That is a generalist. They switch to another product. If possible, set up another company with another name that carries and. After all, Samsung started by selling fish. Today, Samsung is one of the leaders in technology. So that is what being a generalist and a specialist looks like. So the specialist will lose their job once power comes to the country. But the generalist keeps their own business running and moves into the new trending thing. And that is it. So I hope you're learning through this series, the gospel of the true rich. This is what the truly rich person will tell you. Don't work for money. Work to learn. And I'm telling you, you're going to be extremely rich. Thanks for watching this. Today on the Gospel of the True Rich, we're going to be treating overcoming obstacles. Now, that's one of the things a rich person will always tell you to do. Because in order to become rich, you need to overcome those obstacles that poor people never want to attend to, never want to face. Some are in denial. Some find cliches to cover their inadequacies, like, I don't care about money, I don't want to be rich, I can never be rich, the rich are greedy people, the rich are stingy people, the rich are thieves, the rich are murderers. You know, they find these very interesting cliches to cover up their inadequacies instead of facing the obstacles that are right in front of them that make them feel like they may never be rich. They look for something or someone to blame. So a rich person would advise you, face those obstacles, overcome those obstacles. And the first on the list is fear. The first obstacle we need to overcome is fear. Fear is a common thing in the human race. A lot of people are afraid. Even the rich too have fears. A poor person feels that they are the only one that have fears of losing money or fears of becoming poor or remaining poor. The rich also have fears. But what does the rich do when they are afraid? How do they overcome it? Do they overcome it by running under the carpet and looking for something to blame, or creating a cliche like the world is going to end on their neck? Is that what they do? Or do they come out to face it? Because the truth is, you need to overcome your fears, whatever it is. Yes, the rich too, they feel fear. I feel fear. Fear of investing, fear of the business, fear of the market, fear of the unknown, fear of government policies coming up tomorrow, fear of a whole lot of things. And do we just go ahead to do what we do and gamble it? So what does the rich do?
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
As a rich person, the greater the fear, the greater the education. The greater the fear of that business, the greater you need to immerse yourself in that thing, in that skill or that labor, that thing you're getting into, that business, that venture you're going into. You need to educate yourself more to beat that fear. Because the more educated you are in that thing, the more calculated you are, and the better your results. You cannot chicken away just because the market is crashing, or there are always busts and booms in the market, and you're afraid, oh, I may just do it today and tomorrow the market will burst and I lose all my money. Do the rich lose their money? Yes. I have seen rich people lose money, but I have never seen a poor person lose money because they want to invest. They never lose their money investing because they never put their money into investing. Rather, they play it safe. They just go and invest their money, lazy investments, into things that they would never learn from. Because the first thing for a rich person is, how much am I going to learn from this? That is what a rich person is more concerned about. In this process, in this venture, in this adventure, how much am I going to learn? What is the new thing I'm going to learn? I've been in oil for a while. I want to move into e-commerce. What am I going to learn? Is there a learning field there? Would it expand my mind? Okay, I want to switch to banking. Would it expand my mind? I mean, business is not going there to work. So the rich in my last video work to learn. But the poor don't. The poor are always looking for ways to play it safe. Play it safe. Keep everything within their fingers. The more riskier it is, the rich face their fears by delving deeper into it, getting more information, getting more knowledge, finding out inside information if possible, knowing the things that the poor are not ready to know. Rather, what the poor do is they live with the fear and wake up every morning and go to work with that same fear. And they come back home. with the same fear. They wake up the next morning but they know something is wrong. They know that inside of them, like inside of every man, there is that spirit that wants to burst. There's that spirit that wants to come out. They have it in them, but they suppress it with fear and be like, you know what, I love this security, this job security, and they remain there for 20, 25, 30, 50 years, not exploring, not doing things they want to do. So yes, fear is the first thing you need to overcome, and until you overcome it, you will remain poor. And like I just gave you a simple thing to do. When you are afraid, go deeper into that thing you're afraid to understand it. You find out that by the time you understand it, the fear would vanish. Even if it is there, you'll be moving with the speed and the integrity and the confidence that is coming from the angle of knowledge. So when everybody is running away from it, you're going into it. And they're saying, oh, it's risky. You're going to lose all your money. You're going to lose all your investment. Really? But the rich are there. And they're making good money out of it. And they keep investing there. Then you need to ask yourself, what are you really afraid of? Because in some instances, it's like people are afraid to become rich because they feel being rich is too much hazard. So they tell themselves the rich are greedy people, the rich are killers, the rich are murderers. I can't be rich. I can never be rich because I have children. I can never be rich because I'm not from a rich family. And they keep on letting fear speak. So when a rich person brings a business idea to you, like I presently have a business that I need 6 people to invest in. I need just 6 people to invest in. But each time I look around and I talk to people, I see fear speak back. What if when I put in this money, it goes burst? What if the minute we now decide to invest in this thing? And mind you, I'm not talking about Ponzi's. I'm not talking about gambling. I'm talking about sure businesses that will make you rich. But each time I look around, I ask myself, where are these people I can do business with? Where are these people with open minds? Where are these people who are ready to go the extra mile? Because most of the time, people just feel you just go and invest your money and whatever they tell you, hey, you need to study, you need to understand. So to beat the fear, you need to learn more. So you need to be ready to work and learn. Work to learn, not to work for money. You need to be very ready for it if you're going to be rich. Because you're going to be learning along the way. And some are going to be good, some are going to be bad, and some very ugly. But you'll be learning. And the more you learn, the more experienced you are. And the more experienced you are, the more you take that same experience into the next business and into the next one until you find out that you're doing things and taking decisions like it is nothing. So yes, we all face fear, but we need to overcome the fear. The moment you overcome the fear of being rich, you become rich. And that is the only thing you need to do. Overcome it. Like I said, learn more about these things you have these ideas about that are so much scaring you. Go and learn more about it to become better at what you do. Thanks for watching. How can cynicism make you a poor person? And I'll tell you firsthand, cynicism almost ruined my life. It almost ruined my financial life. I'll tell you firsthand. Hello. We're still treating the gospel of the true rich. And so far, it's been very interesting. Today, we'll be talking about cynicism. Why are we even talking about cynicism? I'm sure you might be wondering, like, why should we treat this? Why should we address cynics? And how can cynicism make you a poor person? And I'll tell you firsthand, cynicism almost ruined my life. It almost ruined my financial life. I'll tell you firsthand. Now, let me give you an example of cynicism. After my schooling days, each time someone approaches me and they're like, Michael, what book are you studying now? What are you reading? What are you immersed into now? What are you trying to achieve now when it comes to reading books? What books? And I'll be like, me read. After all those years of this, then no, I can never pick up a book again to read. And I'll tell them, look, listen, to be successful, you don't even have to read. All you just need to do is have money. When you have money, you're successful. So I don't have to read. And I'll just give an excuse like, look, I watch a lot of movies. I'm a movies person. So I'll then start showing you movie quotes I write out from the movies I watch. Like, look, I study movies. You know, whatever they've written in the book, the movie is more interesting. I can take my time more and study movies. By the way, who has reading help? Who reading help? You get that one. Another typical one of me is when people approach me like, Michael, you spend so much money on, now I'll call it liabilities. Then it was just, they may not have the phrase to use, but they will just use you spend so much unnecessarily. Why? And I'll just say, They know they take food money build house. Do you understand? Now, what it means is you cannot build a house by trying to put one and two together. You get so that was it. That was pure cynicism from my own side, and these things almost wrecked my life. Now I know better. I cannot try. Now every day of my life I study spiritual and financial intelligence materials, educational materials, whatever way I can grasp quality knowledge from. I study. And now I channel my money more into assets than liabilities.
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
I put in all goes into the assets column, and from the assets column we can now start thinking of having some very important liabilities tomorrow. So that's just an example of cynicism, and cynicism generally keeps you small. It has a way of shrinking your mind, your brain. You wouldn't see anything. Rather, cynicism keeps you complaining. Cynicism keeps you bringing out problems where there should be solutions. So even where there are solutions, you're always looking for a problem because you're a cynic. You like seeing things from the other way, from the negative perspective. And you always have the sky is falling mentality in your mind. The world is going to an end. So why do anything? And most of the people that said the world is coming to an end, today they are 90, they are 70, they are 80. I feel just die today, meaning I can just die today and all this my struggle. Today they are still alive at 100 and something with nothing, begging people to please attend to their needs at old age. Because they lived a very cynical life of you only live once. That's a very cynical statement. They call it YOLO, whatever they call it. You only live once. No, that is not it. If you keep going that way, you would end up building nothing. Because the time would never ever be right to build. Because anytime you want to build, you see rain. They say if a person waits for the perfect pitch weather, you will never plant. So that's a wise saying. And if you go by it, you'd understand that as a cynic, nothing good will come out from you. Cynics complain. They are natural complainants. While financial intelligence people analyze. They are analysts. They can take the time and analyze the present situation, look at it from their mind, not just what their brain is telling them. A cynic works too much on the brain, while a financial intelligent person works with their mind. So they come into a place, they see a problem, their mind goes to work to solve the problem. But a cynic sees the problem and keeps complaining about the problem, doing nothing. The best always gets out from the presence of a cynic, because people wouldn't even want to approach you with anything, even if it is going to be beneficial to you, because they believe that even your own testament of what you have to say, I mean, you need to listen to some people. The minute you open out your mouth to talk to them about business and investment, oh my God, life becomes gloomy. Everything becomes problem. They will tell you, give you 1,000,001 reasons why not to do it. And if you don't take time, you will lose faith in what you were about to do, and you will go their way. And usually they are never informed about anything, or they are over-informed. So they do not know how to really balance it. So it's either they know nothing about that particular investment, but just have a doomsday mentality, or they just look for what is wrong and take their time studying, rehearsing, researching what is wrong and why it is going to go wrong. And like I say, the rich, they don't give in to fear, and they don't give in to cynicism. The difference between fear and cynicism is that fear keeps you in one place, like you know you're afraid, but cynicism gives you this stupid confidence, overconfidence in the wrong thing. So I can easily deal with somebody who is afraid, but not a cynic. Because a cynic, it is almost impossible to even prove to them that white is white and black is black. They are always seeing things from a very wrong perspective. A cynic sees a white cloth. For him to buy it, he's already thinking of the day to get dirty and spoil it. As a person, you need to be very careful, because the over-information of a cynic can put you off, and the non-information of a cynic can also put you off. So I've seen people who go into certain investments with high hopes. High hopes. They've done their math with whomever they need to do it with. They've gotten the facts, they've gotten the figures, and the next thing they start calling, please, I want to withdraw. And you're like, why? And they're like, somebody told me doomsday is coming for this very investment. And you're like, sorry, this person that told you this thing, has the person invested in it? The answer is usually no. Does the person know about this? The answer is usually no. Is the person even a broker? The answer is usually no. So you need to be careful, and also do not become one. There are two ways. You can be affected by a cynic, and you can actually become a cynic yourself. Look to the bright side of life. Always look to the bright side of life. Cynicism can keep you poor. Before you make a deduction about something, please look at it from the three sides of the coin, not just one side or both extremes. Try to always look at it well. Now, this is another obstacle that you need to deal with: cynicism. Cynicism can keep you in one place forever, expecting doomsday that will never ever come, expecting a crash that will never happen, expecting something that would never ever be. Look through the positive side of life. I'm sure you've heard of the Chicken Little story, where the chicken goes out screaming, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling." Yes, that is a very good cynic, because the truth is the sky will never fall. If you're surrounded by cynics, please find a way to deal with them. Try very hard for them not to get into your head, because they can end whatever you're doing before it even starts. And if you're a cynic yourself, please look through the bright side of life, and you'd see that your life would change and you become rich. I tell people, each time you say you want to start something to benefit people, it be a YouTube channel, a TikTok channel, whatever it is you want to do. You want to open up a shop, you want to start an online sales for something, and it is to serve people. Each time, each day you procrastinate it, it is an insult to the people that believe in you. We're still discussing overcoming obstacles. I did this in part so that we can treat the obstacles one at a time. And today we'll be discussing discipline. I'll give you a clue from Brian Tracy. He said in all his years of meeting rich people, there was one thing in common. There was one thing they kept on talking about. There was one advice that kept coming. There was one admonishment that kept coming, and that is discipline. Be disciplined. So each time Brian Tracy is having an interview with a rich person and is asking, what can I do to become rich? They tell him the same thing. They keep their message revolving around one thing, and that is discipline. So you can say that every rich person is disciplined and every poor person lacks discipline. It's very simple and it's very true. The moment I see an indisciplined person, I see a poor person. I see somebody that can never be rich until they change their attitude towards discipline and brace up. Rich, like I tell people, it's not about money. It has everything to do with attitude. And if indiscipline is part of your attitude, you're going to be a very poor person. But if discipline is a core value to you, you're definitely going to be a rich person.
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
When I talk about discipline, I'm not just talking about discipline because of money, discipline because you're working for money, or discipline you subject yourself to because you need to get paid. No. Like I tell people, do your job, do the best at just be the best at your job. Give your bosses the best, because that is the only thing you should do. Anything lesser than that, you're out of the gate, you're out of the building. So it should be normal for you to be disciplined in your workplace. But how about your personal discipline? How about discipline to yourself? You need to ask yourself that question. How disciplined are you to yourself? Now, each time your boss tells you, I need this file on my table by 6 a.m. tomorrow, 3 a.m., you don't reach work. In fact, you would wrestle all the demons and everything that would hinder you from submitting that project or that file on his table before 6. Of course, you get rewarded with money, with a bonus, with a promotion, climbing the corporate ladder. That is not the type of discipline I'm talking about. But we find out that each time we are on a job, we are disciplined. But when it comes to something that has to do with us personally, oh my goodness, we are very lazy. And that only shows a lack of respect for yourself and a lack of respect for the people that believe in you. Now, when you do your job as a worker in a company, I don't applaud you, because what are you supposed to do? Less? You are supposed to deliver the best in your workplace. But when you do the extra for yourself, I applaud you. I give you the kudos. When you mind your business mindfully, and the little things on the corner that you've said you're going to do to enhance the lives of people, because being rich is not about money, it's about service. So yes, you can be working and have a business or a side hustle. Now, for some people, they are excellent at their job, but they are horrible at their side hustles, and they don't even want to get better, and they are not even creating the room to get better. They keep on giving excuses for their side hustle or their business. but they have no excuse for their jobs. I need to tell you the truth. You need to step up your game for yourself and for your business and for your side hustle. That is the only way you become rich. Because if you're indisciplined to yourself, forget about that thing you do in your office. I don't believe in office discipline like people, because I know money is driving there. Money is speaking. So for them to receive their paycheck at the end of the month, yes, you have to be disciplined. Anything short from that, like I always say, you're out of the gate. The true discipline I'm talking about is self-discipline. I've seen people that will boast and say, at the end of this month, I'm starting a YouTube channel. At the end of this month, I'm starting that side hustle. At the end of this month, I'm starting that business. 2 months later, 3 months, 4 months later, they are still working. They are still getting early to work. They are still going midnight, coming back midnight. And you ask them, you said you were going to start a YouTube channel. What happened? I don't have time. That one is another level of lie. Just tell yourself the truth. You've not created time. I don't have time. I don't have time. I can't do it. I can't make out time. But for your job, you are building for somebody else, you have all the time. In fact, you don't even miss work. Come rain, come sunshine, come thunder, come fire. Let brimstone be falling from up. But for yourself, that thing you said you're going to do for yourself, Biko, why? Why don't you do it? Have you ever sat down to ask yourself, to find out that you don't have any form of respect for yourself? You lack respect for yourself? So if you lack respect for yourself, how can you be responsible for others out there? I'm not talking about your job. I'm not talking about the responsibility from your job. That one is normal. You are getting paid. You see people, they work Monday to Saturday, and on Sunday they are home, they will sleep. I'm not saying you should not rest though. Hello? I'm not saying you should not rest. But why are you sleeping? They will sleep. And the next day, they're back to work. They could not even bring out 2 hours or 1 hour from that free day to do something beneficial for themselves. To start something. Something you do every 2 hours of that free day. For yourself. Yourself. You need to build yourself. You need to grow yourself. You need to respect yourself. Your boss calls you, hey, I need you here by 6 p.m. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You start jumping, flying, you get there. But if it's what will concern you, and you book an appointment to meet somebody for your own business, for your own thing, for 5, you will get there 7. In fact, the appointment may not hold. You become chairman procrastinators club. And you keep telling yourself that the reason I want to start a business is because I want to be best of my end. Is that what bosses do? Disrespect themselves? Before you will get respect from people, respect yourself first. You want that world recognition? Respect yourself. If you say I'm going to do something, do it for yourself, Stop setting goals in the office, but you can't set a goal for your own life, your own personal life. That job, you will leave it though. Whether by will or by force, you shall leave it one day, and somebody will replace you, and the company will keep growing. But Biko, what have you done for yourself? I hear a lot of people, I would like to study real estate investing. 5 years now, they never start. And some would have started before the job. And because of that job, open, church, you don't close. Please, you need to talk to yourself. You need to respect yourself. You can't keep insulting yourself. You can't keep downgrading yourself. You can't keep putting yourself under. That is disrespect of the highest level. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this. Start it. That same energy, that same strength you used to go errands for people, go it for yourself. That same energy, give yourself. Pump yourself up. You're drinking coffee up and down in the office. When you get home, you can't drink coffee for yourself. Why haven't you read that book? Each time I get home, I'm just tired. You never start. I'm telling you the truth, like you've not started. You need to ask yourself questions. Then on the reverse side, why do you think you're not serving anybody? Why do you think so? The first thing is because you don't even respect yourself. So you can't even respect them, to serve them, to look for a need and meet it. That comes from a high place of respect. Discipline. Discipline, a high place of respect and discipline. I tell people, each time you say you want to start something to benefit people, It be a YouTube channel, a TikTok channel, whatever it is you want to do. You want to open up a shop, you want to start an online sales for something, and it is to serve people. Each time, each day you procrastinate it, it is an insult to the people that believe in you. And each day you miss or skip a day of what you're supposed to do. If you're supposed to do something every 1 hour every day so that people around you and people all over the world will benefit from you, and you skip it, it is an insult. It is an insult. In fact, that is why people cannot believe in you, because you're not consistent. Can you see how many things we are coming to? From discipline, we are inside respect, and consistency is coming up. You're inconsistent. So how will people respect you? How will people believe in you? How will people be waiting for that thing? Oh, I have a friend. His YouTube channel is always every Thursdays, and today is Thursday. I must meet up by 8 because he does not feel. And they come. There are people who depend on what you have to offer. There are people who believe in what you have to offer, and there are people who need what you have to offer. But you choose not to do anything. It is disrespect to them. There are people who believe in you, that there are certain things that you can take care of better, but you choose not to do anything. You choose to be indisciplined. It is a slap to their faces. Wake up, brace up. You see that same energy you're putting into another man's business? Please divert it to your own business. Mind your business. Be disciplined yourself. If you say, I'm going to wake up 8 o'clock every morning so that I can meet up with 1 hour study for myself before leaving the house, do it for yourself. Don't sleep till 8:30, wake up and start running so that you meet up with another person's job by 9. At the end of the day, you didn't do anything for yourself. If you need to take a course, take it. If you need to study something new, take it. Whatever you decide to do for yourself to better yourself, start it today. That is the angle of discipline I'm coming from. Because I think we have been programmed already to be over-disciplined when it comes to our jobs, but not our businesses. The more you learn to be disciplined for yourself and the people that believe in you, then you become rich. Thanks for we all have that little bit of ego in us, so we need to watch it so that it doesn't become too much. Because when your ego is too much, it becomes arrogance. So you're seeing something that will benefit you, benefit your family, benefit your generation, but because you don't understand it, you are just fighting against it. We're still on the gospel of the true rich, and it's been very interesting. And today we'll be looking at something very peculiar with poor people, and that is arrogance. Why are we talking about arrogance? How can arrogance make you poor? I'll use myself as an example, and I'll say for a fact, for everything I have been arrogant about, I have failed in it. And every time I've been arrogant about a business deal or an opportunity somewhere, I have lost money. Sometimes we think we know as much as we need to know, and our ego rises. And when this happens, we tend to fight the things that should build us. And it's very common with us because it's always been a way to respond to things we don't understand. So instead of coming out to say, I don't understand this thing, or ask the question, how does this thing work? In our minds, we just start that battle that we are bigger than it, we are greater than it, so we don't need it. But in truth, we actually need it. So every time an information comes to you and you're always fighting against it, even understanding the values and what you tend to gain from it, you lose out on it. Arrogance can keep you poor for life. Arrogance can keep you in a bad place, can box you up for life. That when people think of smart people they should reach out to for any business deal, like the first movers in, you're the last person they think of. Because they know that the minute they bring the idea to you, your egocentric nature will just overshadow whatever they're bringing to you, and you would eventually not buy into it. So therefore, you lose whatever you're about to get, or you should have gotten from it.
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
We all have that little bit of ego in us, so we need to watch it so that it doesn't become too much. Because when your ego is too much, it becomes arrogance. So you're seeing something that will benefit you, benefit your family, benefit your generation, but because you don't understand it, you are just fighting against it. And they're bringing the truth to you, and instead of you to open up your mind first, open up your mind and take it in step by step. If it will take you a longer time to understand it, ask for the time and go through it. Take your time. for what you don't understand. If you have to get a book, get the book. Read it, study it. If you have to watch videos, go online. There are videos online everywhere. There's nothing you actually need today that cannot be attended to online. I'm telling you the truth. Whatever kind of materials you're looking for, they are online. Go online, and most of them are free. All you need to do is avail yourself to absorb them, and then you have a better understanding. I still have issues with it these days. There's some things I would hear and it would just trigger me, like, why is this one saying it? What do? I take my time to listen and listen over and over and over again, and before you know it, I am seeing another side of the coin. So I've added another tactic to my books. I've added a new system now. I know an old system, I know another one, so that's two systems now. So when a problem comes to me in that area, what I do is I sit and I analyze, then I choose in between the solutions I know, and I go for the best. So yes, we all have that thing in us, but we need to come to that place where we have to just open up our minds and take in things. And if you're looking for a solution for arrogance, there is no secret anywhere. The solution for arrogance is knowledge, education. Educate yourself about that thing. Be informed about it. Do not just stay on the corner as an unbeliever. There are some people that there's nothing they believe in. All they believe in is their salary. There's no business idea they're involved in. There's nothing, no venture. Because their minds are so closed. And they are too big to go to those materials, to go study them. Each time I see an arrogant person, I see a poor person. The rich are not arrogant people. The rich open up their minds. The rich are flexible. That is another thing. Flexibility. The rich can take their time. Okay, we've been doing this for the past 50 something years. Oh, something new comes up. What do we do? How do we go about it? How do we switch? What is the trend? Change is another solution to arrogance, because if you're not open to change, you're never going to grow. It's just simple. If you are not open to new ideas, you're never going to grow. Now, I'm not saying taking every junk that is out there. Most of the time, you know they're junk when you begin to study them. So until you study, you may never know that they brought junk to you. And arrogance has kept people poor. Arrogance has made people lose money. So a lot of people bring some funny ideas to you, and because of your arrogance, you would never research it or go deep into it. You just hyped, and you feel like, oh, you just want to have more money than everybody, so you just push your money into it, and you fall into Ponzi's because of your arrogance. 30 minutes a day can save you from arrogance by studying that thing, that new thing that has been brought to you. 30 minutes a day. Just take out 30 minutes to study, and yes, that thing will be solved. The obstacle we're talking about now is arrogance. So if you can deal with arrogance by putting your head down to learn, to understand, ask questions. People have gone through these things. Brian Tracy said in his book, No Excuses, he said there's nothing new you want to try. Whatever you want to try has been done. So you can have a new brand of car, but it is a car. You can develop a new virus, but it is a virus. You can develop something new, a new computer, a new type of building. It is a house, it's a computer. There's nothing new. So why do you keep making the same mistakes? And why do you keep losing over those things? I don't know. Now you see where arrogance comes in. Go ask questions, meet those who have done it. If you can't meet them online, their materials online, and they are free, totally free. Download and study. Just 30 minutes a day can save you from arrogance and save you a lot of money and help you make a lot of money. Do not be an unbeliever without understanding. So you need to open up your mind, go into study, help yourself, and at the end of the day, you will become rich. Thanks for watching. We're still on the series, The Gospel of the True Rich. And of course, we're still treating overcoming obstacles. And I'm sure this has been very thrilling for everyone. Okay, now today, the obstacles we're going to be treating is bad habits, bad financial habits. Yes, a habit starts as a joke. Most of the time, it's almost like, oh, you just try it, then you begin to feel some form of high over it. Then with time, over time, you then get addicted to it, that you just play out or you take decisions based on that habit you've formed or developed over time without even thinking. So when habits play in our life, it's almost like our brains are shut when we do them. And of course, there are bad financial habits that people display and engage in every day of their life. And if they continue that way, they would never become rich. And one of the habits that people always display is the lack to delay gratification. The lack to delay gratification. So, how does this habit really form?
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
In my other video, I was talking about when we're kids, once we cry, they give us money. It's something very common in my environment today. That the other day I had to sit down and wonder, why is it that when we see children in distress or crying or looking sad, and we ask them, what's wrong with you? How are you? And they can't even come out to say anything. We just assume that giving them money would solve their problem, handing them over money. So we give out 150 naira, 200, maybe 1,000 naira. You just flip money around. You go to visit your cousins, your little nephews and nieces, and all you do around is flip money. You just show the money. You just keep giving them the money without them understanding what to even do with the money. Because there is a common thing we did as kids. Once money gets into our hand, we go for candy, we go for biscuits, we go for goodies. So it is almost like that is the gratification. The biscuits, the candy, and the goodie makes us happy. And we grow up with this same habits, this same attitude. So before people receive their salaries, they have bought new phones. They have bought new televisions. They have changed their apartments for no good reason. They just want to move from one apartment to another or one location to another without any strategic reasons. No, I just like that place, it's just fine. Oh, I just want to get the new iPhone series and that is it. Why are you getting this phone? Why are you going for this phone? They don't have a reason. And once the new series comes out, they get that one and they keep going. The minute they get a promotion, it is a promotion of their car, their house, their phones, they cannot do anything or plant anything that will take time to harvest and they would later reap from. No, they can't wait. They cannot delay the gratification. They want the gratification now. It's hard to find people and tell them that, look, let's get into a business venture. This might take 2, 3, 4 years before it matures. Then we're expecting returns in the next 5 years thereabouts. So we just have to sit tight, wait, and keep doing what we are doing. And in the long run, we'll get the benefits. The minute you just start talking about that, they're like, no, this money, no, I can't wait. I have problems that are facing me in front of here that I need to solve now. And they can't take their time to build. So what do? They run into the job. They hug job. And from job to job to job to job, and check out their life after that 5 years, they're still jobbing up and down. It's either they've gotten a new one or they are still in that old job, or that they just want that steady paycheck, so they cannot. It is a habit you need to break if you would ever become rich. In one of my last videos I talked about discipline. Now this is where discipline plays in. You have to discipline yourself to be able to delay gratification, because if you cannot delay gratification, I am sorry, you're in trouble. You're in financial trouble. Because if every time you are salivating for something new, a want, not even a need, you have a phone that is working, nothing is wrong with it, but you just want to change the phone so that you are using the latest ones. Please, my brother, my sister, you need to think about what you're doing. Think about what you're thinking about, because it will lead you to become poor and not become rich. The rich know how to delay gratification. The rich know how to wait. The rich know how to plant. The rich know how to sow so that they someday reap from it. So if you're expecting everything to be solved by, you just see someone, hi, what's up? How are you? What's wrong with you? Before you just, yeah, I need money. And when you're asking, what do you need money for? I have a video that talks about it. Money is not your problem. It's just a solution. You need to know how to address things. Where does that childish thing come from? From the fact that they can't delay gratification. So they just see that money solves all their problems, of which is not true. Money can never make you rich. Now, the second one is the habit of investing. I use the word investing in liabilities and not assets. Now, before I go deep, I would have to explain the difference between a liability and an asset. A liability is anything that takes money from your pocket, and an asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. So we have a lot of people who have so much liabilities around them, surrounding them, and they believe or they feel that they are assets. So they're always out to achieve so much liabilities, and you'll be hearing things like, do you know how much my car is? Do you know how much my apartment is? Do you know how much I pay for rent? Do you know how much my wristwatch is? Do you know how much my shoe is? Once you just keep hearing that thing, you just know that person is investing into the wrong thing. They are investing into liabilities. Please redirect your focus and invest into your assets. Invest into your assets. The minute you invest into your assets, you are granting yourself a very beautiful and super financially free future. It is not just about the frenzy of today. No. Invest in your assets. And that takes us to the third one, which is paying yourself first. A lot of people pay every other person first before themselves, and a lot of people do not even have anything to pay themselves with. And when you say pay yourself first, it takes us back to the book The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. Now, a lot of people have read that book over and over, but they still make some decisions based on the habits they have in their life, and they do not know why. Now, I'm here to tell you that is a habit you need to stop. You need to understand first what paying yourself is. Paying yourself is not collecting salary. Paying yourself is not buying yourself a cow. Paying yourself is not buying yourself a wristwatch, please. Because a lot of people are focused so much on paying themselves that they are so engulfed in liabilities, not assets. They have all the liabilities you can think of and no assets to cover for it. You begin to pay yourself when you begin to invest in your assets column. That is when you begin to pay yourself. Paying yourself is buying yourself assets. It is not buying yourself a Benz or buying yourself a Range Rover. And from the assets you buy, you begin to pay the assets back. Now, I have seen some people with some very beautiful business plans, and I go into their numbers, their cash flow, and I ask the question, so how do you pay yourself back in this? They'll be like, someday we'll make profit. I say it's not about profit. It's not just about the profit. From the profit, how do you pay yourself? How do you return into the company? How do you give yourself back into the company? There's no structure for it. They only have a sharing formula of profit, of which they don't even understand the difference between gross and net profit. That you should not even touch your gross profit until it is net profit. Then from your net profit, you can channel at least 10% back into the business, back into the venture, back into the assets. Yes, you can start there. 10% goes back into this business, goes back into making sure that this business keeps running, making sure that this business keeps expanding. The minute you begin to do that, you are paying yourself. But every other person has every other person. They are paying. They pay the generator, they pay the car maintenance, they pay the house rent, they pay NEPA bill, they pay every other person, they pay food, they pay water, they pay lights, they pay the government. Of course, those ones collect first. Whatever is remaining, you start paying everybody. The question you need to ask yourself, you get the answer when you tune into WIFM. It's a radio station. What's in it for me? Now, what's in it for you if you beat these habits I'm talking about is that you will become financially free. That is what it is in for you. Because if you don't understand it and you want to just keep doing the same thing you're doing over and over years, you're just going to remain in one spot. And that is not a good place to be. It is not and will never be a good place to be in one place. No, now, you need to grow. You need to grow. You need to learn how to delay gratification. You need to learn how to buy assets. And even when you buy assets or when you invest in assets, you need to learn how to pay yourself back through the assets. That is when you can become financially free. When you beat these three habits, these three bad financial habits, you're on your fast lane to financial freedom. And then I guarantee you, you will surely become rich. Thanks for watching. So we lazily keep the things that need to be attended to in a corner. And we come out looking very fresh, plumb in a Range Rover. But we know we are in a financial mess. We know we are in trouble. But we will never attend to it. And at the end of 30 years, once you retire, you hear he has gone back to the village. He wants to go and rest. They know the rest for Lagos. Or they know the rest for the city. Your mates know the rest for Banana Island. Don't they rest in Ikoyi? They know the rest for VI. I just sent the village breeze. I hear you. People have beach houses here in Lagos. And they are feeling breeze more than the one in the village. But your laziness has kept you building for other people and ignoring what you should do for yourself. We're still on the exciting series, The Gospel of the True Rich. And today we'll be taking the last part of overcoming obstacles. And that would be laziness. Today we would be treating laziness. Now, a lot of people have an idea of laziness. A lot of people feel that laziness or think that laziness is actually not doing anything. I'm sorry to burst a bubble. Laziness, most of the time, is doing too much, doing everything, but doing the wrong thing, and not wanting to do the right thing, being over busy over something you know would eventually put you in trouble. That can be laziness. So let me give you a very clear example. A lot of people who are working class today are lazy. Yes, like in Nigeria, we find a lot of people who wake up in the midnight and go to work and come back in the midnight. And they continue the cycle 365 days a year. They don't have time for family. They don't have time for their own business. They can't even try to create their own business. And even if they do, they don't mind their business. They spend so much time minding people's business and so little or no time minding their business. And on the long run, a lot of them lose their homes, lose their children, because how do you explain someone who doesn't have time for family? Spends all their time at the office, always comes in once in a week sometimes, and sometimes even if they come every day, before they get home, their children are asleep. By the time they're leaving the house, their children are still asleep. They can't even talk with their spouse. They have so much issues to deal with, no time to deal with it. Even when they have a quarrel, they try to buy flowers and cakes and vacations for their spouse just to settle the problem, instead of actually sitting down to talk about it. That is the definition of laziness.
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
Doing something over and over again and not minding your own business, that is another form of laziness. Yes. And a lot of them are in panic. That is the saddest part, because they know that their house of cards is going to crumble someday, but some way, somehow, they are gambling it through every day by pushing it to the next day and the next and the next and the next and the next. And they keep telling themselves, someday I'm going to start studying, someday I'm going to read this book, someday I'm going to have to watch these programs or these movies that would educate me on how to build my business. Movies like The Men Who Built America, movies like Encanto. Yes, Encanto, the animated cartoon. Encanto, that is a very good movie to watch to learn and understand how entrepreneurship works. Where you have Abuela as the CEO and you have her children and grandchildren with their talent serving and building the community. Yes, that is a very good movie for entrepreneurs to watch. Now, you keep telling yourself, someday I'm going to do these things. You meet rich people every day and they talk to you and they try to wake you up from your slumber. And they're telling you, this thing you keep doing every day. You say, oh, I don't have time. One of the biggest lies poor people tell. I don't have time. So you keep yourself busy. You're so busy building other people, but you would never make out time to build your own. That is the laziness we're talking about. No, it doesn't mean folding your arms doing nothing. It means having your hands too busy doing everything against yourself. And you find out some people 20, 30 years working in the same company, and sometimes even in the same position. And they have never, ever taken out time to build something for themselves. They have nothing set aside for their family. They have nothing set aside for their children. They have nothing set aside for retirement. That once I retire, I'm going to be having cash flow through this to sustain my life and maintain this life. So what a lot of them do is they push the problem forward to the next generation. And like an adage in my tribe that says, once the father is done training the child will start training the father. And that is where they go to hide. So they have so many children and they work for 20, 30, 40 years. And of course, with their time working, they cannot take care of all their children. Maybe one of them, they try, maybe the first child, then they load the burden of these other 7 children on the first child. Then that one may have to quit school to just get the job early enough to start training the other ones and keep going like that and still training the father and the mother. Now, that is laziness from the parents. You should be able to support your children far. You should be able to take them far. You should be able to call them and ask them, how can I help you? How can I come in? How can I assist? But how can you ask that question when you can't even help yourself? You didn't do anything for yourself. There's nothing down for you. You never guaranteed yourself nothing. So how can you help yourself? But you've been busy. You've been busy doing nothing. You've been busy doing the same thing over and over and over. And your business, you put in one side, is there looking at you. Your business is screaming in your mind. Your business you started is on the corner screaming, can you attend to me? I am here. I am here to grow. Can you give me more attention? Can you give me the same attention you're giving other people's business? Can we do this? That is for the ones that have something they even decided to start. For most of them, they do nothing. And a lot of them are busy spending money that should be invested. That is another form of laziness. So you're working, you're buying your spouse, maybe your wife or your husband, everything they demand. Your children, buying them everything they demand. Yeah, I see people that are in a financial mess. They are in a trap. But they spend every dime on their children. The minute their children blow away so they pump out money to go and buy it. But they have nothing planned for those children. For some of them, their garage is filled with toys, children toys. I'm not saying it is bad. I'm saying, look, can you look to the future? Can you rather not do that now and set up a better future for these children? Stop being lazy. Because we lazily keep the things that need to be attended to in a corner. And we come out looking very fresh, plumb in a Range Rover. But we know we are in a financial mess. We know we are in trouble. But we will never attend to it. And at the end of 30 years, once you retire, you hear he has gone back to the village. He wants to go and rest. They know the rest for Lagos. Or they know the rest for the city. Your mates know the rest for Banana Island. Don't they rest in Ikoyi? They know the rest for VI. I just want the village breeze. I hear you. People have beach houses here in Lagos. And they are feeling breeze more than the one in the village. But your laziness has kept you building for other people and ignoring what you should do for yourself. So, you may be wondering, what is the solution to this laziness? The solution sounds funny, but it's greed. Yeah, greed. A little bit of greed. A little bit, just a little bit. Yeah, I know. I made a video where I said, greed can never make you rich. Greedy people are not rich people. Now, it's not that type of greed I'm talking about. I'm talking about the greed you get in the radio station WIIFM. Yeah, when you tune in there, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? When you ask that question, what's in it for my family? What's in it for my country? What's in it for my parents? What's in it for my siblings? What's in it for me? WIIFM. Now, what would you gain if you decided to take your time and focus on your business? Yes, ask yourself the question. If you ever, never needed to work for money again, how would your life be? If you could afford anything you need in this life without having to beg or steal, how would your life be? If you could give your children a future guaranteed for even your grandchildren, if you could set a standard for your family, how would it be? If you could be the go-to guy in your nation, if you could solve problems for people and in return get royalties, how would your life be? I mean, how would your life be if you become rich? Yeah, that's a question you need to ask yourself. Instead of hiding in a lot of paperwork. You walk from work, you walk in the house, you still take walk to the house, and your children are calling your attention. You can't even look at their faces. Excuse me, I have to finish this and I have to submit this by Monday. Your wife is needing your attention, you can't. Your husband, you can't attend to him, you can't attend to her, you can't attend to things around you, you can't attend to the people around you because you're busy building for people. And you're not building for yourself. That's the most painful part. When you ask yourself, what's in it for me? What would I gain? What would I profit? How would this profit my family if I decided to mind my own business from today and build my own business and not abandon my business? What's in it for me? Then you get the answers. And I'm sure by the time you begin to ask these questions, that's your other mind in the other side will keep on telling you can't afford it. No, you can't afford to be working and build your business at the same time. You can't afford to mind your business now. See, you have bills to pay. You have this to that. And every dime that comes to you, you pay the government, you pay the banks, you pay your landlord, you pay everybody. You don't pay yourself. You don't build nothing for yourself. Yeah, that voice would always come to tell you, I can't afford it. Tell that voice, I can't afford it. Then you ask yourself, how can you afford it? The minute you ask, how can I afford it? I have a video that says that, how can I afford it? Your tongue can make you reachable. Your mind will begin to work in ways unimaginable. Stop being lazy. Stop procrastinating. Stop telling yourself, oh, I'm too busy. Oh, I have a lot in my hand. A lot what? You see that job you have, and if you like, work it 50 years. The day you retire or they sack you, they will put another person. Try for your children. You can never transfer your job to your children, but you can transfer your company, your legacy to your children. You can hand over something tangible to your children. Do it for yourself. Ask yourself, what would I profit? Forget that thing they did to us by telling us you think only about yourself. Every time you are just concerned. Yes, you should be concerned about yourself. You should be. You should worry about yourself. All those things they told us growing up. Do you think we are made of money? Do you think we pluck money from the tree? You can't have this. You can't have that. Please tell yourself I can have it and work towards it. Stop building for people forgetting about yourself. Help yourself out of it. Come out of it. A little bit of greed is what you need to become rich. Now, when greed goes in excess, that is the one that now becomes a problem. Too much of everything is actually a problem. So too much of greed is a problem. But the greed that comes from WIIFM, what's in it for me, from asking the question, how would it be if you retire early and retire rich? If you don't have to get to the years of retirement and beg for 5 extra years of extension, because all the years you were there, you've not been able to build anything, and probably the 5 years will come, you've still not been able to build anything for yourself. Can you set yourself aside and start building now? Can you do that for yourself? Can you help yourself out of the mess you're already in? A wise man once said, if you've dug yourself into a hole, stop digging. Stop digging. Come out of it. Start planning your way out of the rat race. And if you need someone to talk to plan your way out of the rat race, to get yourself out of that hole, pick your phone and call my number. Send me an email. Let's talk. Let's discuss this thing. Let's plan your life out of that thing you are in now. That laziness, that mental laziness. Let's redirect you. Let's give you a focus, and eventually you become rich. Laziness can only keep you poor. If you want to be rich, you need to beat laziness. Fight your way out of it. Fight with every muscle you have until you become financially free and not have a job security anymore to fall back on. Thank you for watching this video. If this is your first time here, please like, share, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at BeTheTrueRich. Thank you. Bye-bye.
No more worries over grocery items. Get your items delivered to your doorstep in 24 hours. Shop now on Spree.Africa.